welcome to Rave History. And welcome to a look at the phenomena all around a date, 2012. This date, 2012, is now the kind of number that is going viral on the internet. There are all kinds of people that are suggesting that the world is coming to an end. It is, after all, 2012 that in the Mayan calendar indicates that the calendar itself has reached its completion. There's an awful lot of interpretation going on about what is the significance of 2012, what is the significance of this Mayan calendar and this calendar coming to its end. Well, I have to tell you some rave history first, so let's go back a bit. In terms of human design, we have a very special date, that is 1781. 1781 was the advent of the nine-centered being, a mutation, an evolutionary mutation out of its predecessor, the seven-centered being. All those human beings that were born before 1781, all of those human beings were seven-centered beings. The seven-centered, or in terms of the Hindu Brahmin culture, the seven chakra beings were very different from us. Though it's hard for most human beings on this plane to distinguish that difference because we still live with the seven-centered way of being, the strategic way of being, the way in which humanity has managed to dominate this entire planet. All of this is rooted in the seven-centered strategic process. In 1781 came the advent of the nine-centered being that is coincidental with the discovery by Sir William Herschel of the planet Uranus. And in 1781, the planet Pluto was in the 41st gate. Now, the 41st gate is deeply significant in human design. The 41st gate is the gate of decrease, and this gate of decrease in its genetic relationship is related to the only initiating codon. Everything begins with the 41st gate. We have in human design a very special stream. It's called the human experiential way. It begins in the gate of decrease, 41. It goes to the 30th gate, the clinging fire, the gate of the fates, and then to the 36th gate, the darkening of the light, and then finally to the 35th gate, the gate of progress. This is the collective, abstract, experiential, human process. Now, we're in a very special interregnum. The advent of the seven-centered being in 1781 and the close of the background cycle that we are in, a cycle that began in 1615, that is going to end in 2027. That is, we are living in a Pluto interregnum. In 1781, Pluto was in the 41st gate. And in 2027, Pluto will return to the 41st gate. In other words, we are living in a very unique, a very special Pluto cycle. 2027 brings the mutation of the solar plex and the beginning of the emergence of raves on this plane, the true nine-centered beings. We are very different from our predecessors. We are not seven-centered, we are nine-centered beings. We are not specifically strategic. We are binary in our nature. We are both strategic and receptive. We are in ourselves an interregnum. We are Homo sapien intransitus. Now, this human experiential way and this interregnum from 1781 to 2027 is ruled by Pluto. And as Pluto marches through each gate, and obviously the Pluto cycle is well over 250 years, so it is quite a process. As Pluto goes through each gate since 1781, what it has been doing is bringing something to an end and opening up the possibility for something new to begin, death and resurrection. The death of the seven-centered way and the new beginning, that is the new rising of a very different way. The Mayan, these were seven-centered beings. I have a great deal of respect for the Mayan calendar. It is a calendar, a very unique calendar of their kind. When I had my experience in 1987, it was coincidental to the first Mayan harmonic convergence, the beginning of this process in the Mayan calendar of leading down to the end. And they are correct, and they are accurate. It is simply that out there isn't anyone that understands clearly what they in fact were measuring. Let's think about this experiential way and the movement of Pluto. As I said, in 1781, Pluto was in the 41st gate. In 1793, Pluto entered into the 30th gate, forming the first definition in that sense of the experiential way. Pluto, stepping into each of those gates, transforms their process, brings to an end the way in which the dreams of the seven-centered being, could be realized through diversity, begin to end this dream, begin to end the possibilities that made the seven-centered being the king of the heap. In 1815, Pluto entered into the 36th gate, the darkening of the light, this great gate of entering into experience, and not simply just entering into a new experience, but taking somebody else, the collective way, with you. And Pluto entering into the 36th gate turns off that opportunity that had been there for tens of thousands of years for the seven-centered being to find diverse possibilities in this life. The 36th gate is very unusual in terms of its relationship genetically to the codons. It is a gate that asks a very specific question. It is a question that says, is this what life is supposed to be? And for tens of thousands of years, the experiential answer was yes. And in 1815, a whole generation of human beings was born, with Pluto in the 36, bringing a no, the beginning of the no. No, this is not going to be the way. The way is coming to a close. The final step in that process, Pluto's transit into the 35th gate, 1894. In 1894, the final definition in the experiential way is complete. That the theme of progress, the theme of the expectation of humanity, that those expectations that have been constantly fulfilled through the ongoing progress of this way, will then begin to come to an end. Now, there is something very important to think about. It's just numbers. In 1894, the last human beings were born who carried Pluto in the 35th gate, the end of the old seven-centered way. They embodied it in their life. They carried it within them. Now, there is something to understand about the way in which Pluto and Neptune do very unusual things. Because their orbit around the sun, their movement around the wheel takes so much time, that when they leave this plane, when a generation carrying a Pluto aspect leave this plane, it's gone. And if only one person of the generation survives, that frequency of Pluto is there in the world and alive through the neutrino ocean. In 1894, the generation was born with Pluto in the 35th gate, the completion of this transformation, this changing of the human experiential way. Now, somewhere in the Andes, there's somebody who's 113 years old. And they're going to live 3 more years. It'll be 2012. And the very last human being to carry the essence of the old way will be gone. It is what that date represents. In essence, it has nothing to do with you and me. That is, you and me who have the opportunity in this life to understand what they are, a nine-centered being, and how it operates, its basic mechanics, and the way to take advantage of that through strategy and authority. But it's deeply significant in understanding the movement that we are in, the great evolutionary sweep that we are a part of. 2012 is indeed a marker, and the Mayans were absolutely correct. Because on that day, in that year, there will be that last being carrying this frequency, and they will indeed disappear and take it with them. A new way is unfolding in front of us. It is not yet clear what it is. It isn't clear because of the nature of Neptune as it moves along in the same trajectory, impacting the experiential way. Now in the 30th gate, its first return, beginning to dissolve all of these old patterns. We will see in time. But 2012, it's time to say goodbye to the seven-centered being.